Did you guys see this? Faker has filed a case against negative commenters. So apparently got a law firm to file a case against negative commentees. A person who publicly insults another shall be punished by imprisonment or imprisonment without prison labor for not more than 1 year or a fine not exceeding 2 million won. 2 million won is just $2,000. So not a crazy high limit on the fine, but yeah, I think that there's like almost no way I could wrap my head around him just saying, like, just doing this to stop people from saying that he's like bad or he's washed up or just saying anything like, oh, you're playing like shit. That kind of stuff is never, like, it never seemed to faze him, and he's been playing for 10 years. So I think the really high chance of what this is about is people sending death threats, people threatening his life or his family, or threatening to, you know, do some horrible shit to him or the people he cares about because of what, T1 losing games or something like that. Yeah, I think Korean celebrities get it really bad. Yeah, I mean, I've seen people say stuff like, what a softie. It's a brain dead take. I think there's no harm in trying to pursue legal action against the people who really go overboard online. It's simple principle. Of course, sending death threats is not okay, but if you start there, where does the line get drawn? Yeah, that's definitely the really common way of thinking. Slippery slope fallacy is like, oh, well, if we're gonna do it for this, then wouldn't that naturally progress into something like way worse and the other extreme? And the answer is no, it doesn't. And that's why you can't make death threats to somebody. That's why you can't yell fire in a crowded room. Like, even freedom of speech is just limited to government interference, and there's so many limitations on freedom of speech, even in the Constitution. Like, you're not allowed to make threats to somebody's life. You're not allowed to say things with, like, you know, to create like fucking chaos and unrest. You know, that kind of stuff. It's the same thing as yelling fire in a crowded theater. It's the same thing as, you know, for example, just going up to somebody with a knife in your hand and saying, like, I'm gonna stab you. Let's see here. There's a large difference between tactical as shit comments, whatever Faker has decided to file against. I suppose the comments were akin to he should kill himself, or a description of physical violence a particular person would like to inflict on him, even if it's just words. Well, I mean, the precursor to, like, violent action is definitely violent words. So, yeah, I definitely have noticed Korean fans tend to be, like, the most insane out of every single community. That it always makes it on Reddit, like, just crazy shit. I think like KT, no, I forgot, like, Korean fans like sent T1 a box of cockroaches and like a whole bunch of other stuff, like patrolling trucks outside them, like threatening to fucking murder their team, or like fucking behead the CEO and some shit. Yeah, they're absolutely nuts. I don't understand what's wrong with these guys. Like, don't they have a fucking life? I guess not. So obsessed with these celebrities. Like, time to get a life of your own, man. You're not even that obsessed over, like, your own life. Are these guys just, like, content with fucking working at McDonald's, worshiping Korean idols for the rest of their life? They sent LS funeral flowers. That's incel level insane. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with these guys. I think Faker's probably one of those people who, he's literally the most popular League player in the world. He's pretty much the face of the game, and definitely by far the face of his org. He's probably dealt with crazy fans since day one. You know, he's dealt with obviously a crazy amount of supporters, like Faker fanboys who will defend him no matter what, and he's also dealt with people who just love to go against the grain and call him shit. I don't think that stuff has really ever bothered him. He's never shown a crack. He's never actually expressed, like, discontent with the normal amount of just, like, random bullshit that you have to deal with. And, like, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. The guy seems like he has extremely thick skin. He's got a lot of very mild takes. Like, he doesn't seem to get emotional over any sort of controversy or, like, poor performances. He will just obviously be upset, but he doesn't ever really step over the line. This is definitely a lot more serious than normal if he's gonna do something like this. I actually just think it's fucking hilarious when specifically, like, really stupid Americans try to weigh in on something like this, where they just take everything in the worst faith possible. You're only gonna see it through the lens of, like, oh, so he can't deal with, like, people calling him bad? What a sensitive little bitch. Didn't know Faker was a pussy. Yeah, I don't think that's what's happening. Obviously, we have no idea, but you know, it's probably going to come out eventually. And there's no way, in my eyes, there is no way that in the year 10 of his career, he's just sick and tired of these guys calling him bad at League. Yeah, definitely, it's something crazy, right? Stop calling me Shaker. They mentioned that hateful comments consisted of graphic visual imagery and insults towards his mother. I mean, there you go, man. I mean, if it's like really, really graphically violent and horrific stuff, I think that is absolutely worth pursuing legal action over. Always very easy for people to call him sensitive when they've never been in that position before. Yep, exactly. There are way too many cases of Korean celebrities being driven to suicide. It's a different level of harassment, and it oftentimes gets aimed at people's families in extreme ways. Imagine if you lived a life where people DM you to kill yourself every day. Your life is precious. It's not soft to try and preserve that. See, I don't even think that's where it goes crazy. If somebody DM'd me every single day telling me to kill myself, I would probably block them, right? But like, we're talking about people who make 1,000 burner accounts, who would dox him, figure out where him and or his grandma live, you know, like it's just like really, really stressful and sinister stuff. I'm sure Faker has his fair share of absolutely deranged fans, quote unquote. I put that in parentheses because you're not really his fan if you're gonna go this far. But you know, when he loses a game, I'm sure I'm sure he gets posts as the most popular player in the world. He gets DMs from burner accounts that is like, leaking his address, saying that he's gonna go pay his family a visit. You know, that kind of stuff is just like so stressful and fucked up. It's not really that much of a stretch to assume that that's the kind of stuff that he's dealing with. I mean, dude, I've dealt with fucking thousands of death threats in my life. That kind of stuff honestly just bounces off me, although I would understand if for other people they would get really upset. Obviously, it's not okay, right? But you become normalized to whatever you're exposed to, and the League community is definitely one of, if not the most toxic gaming community that exists. And I think it's like more fucked up too when you're threatening people who have absolutely nothing to do with it. And in this case, he's talking about like his mother and probably his family overall. So that sucks for him. Sucks that he has to deal with it, and it sucks that I hope he doesn't ever have to read through the more idiotic comments from stuff like this. Soft lol, try to stream, you'll see how toxic people are without reason. Yeah, I mean, and that's when doing nothing, right? I think he's a chill guy. Yeah, exactly. I think it's really fucked up because he's such a good face for the game because he's so measured and intelligent. He seems like Faker definitely seems like one of those guys who's like wise beyond his years. Yeah, he hardly ever, or has he really ever gotten into any sort of like controversy or drama? If anything, it's just like performance based, right? Like, oh, how come Faker didn't make Worlds? How come he didn't win LCK? But yeah, he's so mild mannered. He's so polite. Actually, his like overall behavior at events too. He's one of the very few people who, when you go to Worlds, when you go to international event, he's one of the very few players where when you pass by him in the hallway, he will smile and say hi. A lot of the pro players, you know, pretty shy, pretty reserved. They're not gonna give you the time of day to, you know, even acknowledge you as you walk past each other in the hall. But Faker's one of the people who has always done that, at least for me. He's definitely classy. Yeah, exactly. He's very classy. Even if he wasn't, though, it doesn't mean that he should have to deal with that.